Look at the hamburger. It is heavily advertised, intensely photographed, and aggressively discounted. It is also a financial decoy. The largest fast food empires on earth do not build their wealth by selling beef. They use the burger as a psychological Trojan horse to sell you this: a salted, chemically optimized starch vector with an 85% profit margin. When you hand over $4 for a large carton of French fries, you are participating in one of the most asymmetric transactions in modern retail. The agricultural cost of that potato mass is roughly 30 cents. You are not paying for the food. You are paying for a microeconomic system engineered to extract maximum capital through minimum caloric substance. In the restaurant industry, this is a textbook execution of the loss leader strategy. The animal protein is the bait that gets you through the door. But the deep-fried carbohydrates pay the shareholder dividends. But to achieve a consistent 80 to 90% return on investment across tens of thousands of global locations, you cannot rely on nature. You cannot simply slice a root vegetable and drop it into hot oil. Nature is unpredictable. Nature has blemishes. And the global market does not tolerate blemishes. To build a multi-billion-dollar empire on a 30-cent side dish, the potato had to be stripped of its biological identity. It had to be rebuilt from the soil up as a predictable, highly addictive industrial commodity. Welcome to the golden cage. To understand the sheer scale of this operation, you have to look at the soil, or rather, what the system has forced the soil to produce. McDonald's purchases roughly 4 billion pounds of potatoes annually in the United States alone. When a single corporation controls nearly 7% of a nation's total crop yield, it no longer adapts to agriculture. Agriculture adapts to the corporation. Enter the Russet Burbank. Botanically, it is a demanding, water-intensive tuber prone to disease. Economically, however, it is a masterpiece. It possesses the exact starch-to-water ratio required for flash freezing, and more importantly, it grows unusually long. In the fast food ecosystem, physical length is a metric of profitability. The iconic red carton is designed for vertical stacking. Short fries fall to the bottom, creating empty space. To a systems architect, empty space is lost revenue. Therefore, the modern potato farmer is no longer cultivating food. They are manufacturing organic building materials to strict corporate blueprints. If a harvest yields tubers with minor cosmetic blemishes, or if they lack the structural integrity to span the height of the carton, they are economically worthless. We have taken a resilient, diverse root vegetable and bullied it into a genetic monoculture, all to ensure that your side dish possesses the architectural uniformity of a plastic toy. If you look at a potato harvested from the earth, it contains one ingredient, potato. The fries you purchase at the drive-thru, however, contain 19. The fast food industry realized decades ago that biology is a limiting factor in scaling a global business. So, they replaced biology with chemistry. Let us begin with visual manipulation. Natural potatoes age, and their internal starch-to-sugar ratios fluctuate wildly depending on the season. If you simply slice and fry a raw tuber, the Maillard reaction is unpredictable. Some parts will burn, while others remain pale. To force a uniform, globally standardized golden aesthetic, these fries are bathed in a dextrose solution before being flash frozen. You are not looking at the natural color of a fried vegetable. You are looking at a highly calibrated sugar glaze reacting to thermal shock. Furthermore, to prevent the potato from oxidizing into an unappetizing gray upon thawing, they are injected with a chemical chelator known as sodium acid pyrophosphate. But the true masterpiece of this system is the psychological hijack, the aroma. Before 1990, the franchise fried their potatoes in pure beef tallow. It was a heavy, distinctive flavor profile that defined a generation of consumers. When public pressure regarding saturated fats forced a switch to vegetable oil, that signature scent vanished, and sales were at risk. To recreate a memory without using the actual ingredient, they turned to flavor laboratories. Enter the ingredient legally classified as natural beef flavor. It contains zero beef. It is actually synthesized from wheat and milk derivatives, broken down into specific amino acids to perfectly mimic the volatile lipid profile of melting animal fat. It is a culinary ghost, a chemical illusion designed to bypass your palate, strike directly at your amygdala, and evoke a synthetic nostalgia. Finally, there is the engineering of consumption. Food scientists operate on a metric known as the Bliss Point, the precise mathematical ratio of sodium, lipids, and rapidly digesting carbohydrates that maximizes dopamine release while deliberately circumventing the brain's satiety signals. The mechanical design of the fry itself, the exact millimeter thickness of the dehydrated, crispy exterior acting as a delivery mechanism for the hot, fluffy starch interior, ensures that the glucose hits your bloodstream with maximum efficiency. Before you have even swallowed the first fry, your neurological reward system has already been manipulated into demanding the second. But here is the paradox of the fast food machine. For all its billion-dollar supply chains and laboratory-engineered flavor profiles, the entire system is built on basic thermodynamics. And thermodynamics is open source. You do not need a global franchise to achieve the exact bliss point of a perfect fry. You just need a 10-cent potato, white vinegar, and high school chemistry. The structural secret to the fast food fry is managing pectin, the natural glue that holds plant cell walls together. If you throw a raw potato directly into hot oil, the pectin breaks down too quickly, resulting in a soggy, caramelized disappointment. The Empire solves this with industrial flash freezing and chemical chelators. You are going to solve it with acid. By dropping your hand-cut potatoes into boiling water spiked with a splash of standard white vinegar, you lower the pH environment. This acidic bath essentially paralyzes the pectin, locking the potato's internal architecture in place. The exterior becomes gelatinized and structurally sound, while the interior cooks into a fluffy, hydrated mash. Next comes the double fry, a process of deliberate dehydration. The first round in oil at a lower temperature evaporates the surface moisture and fully cooks the starch. You pull them out, let them cool, and drop them into a violent high-heat bath. This second thermal shock triggers a furious Maillard reaction, shattering the remaining moisture and creating that distinct, glass-like exterior shell. Toss them in fine-grained salt immediately, while the surface oil is still micro-bubbling. So, let us return to that $4 carton of fries. You are no longer looking at a side dish. You are looking at a tax on ignorance. You have just replicated the exact textural geometry and dopamine, triggering salt-to-starch ratio of a multinational conglomerate. And you did it for roughly 30 cents, armed with nothing but a frying pan, and the stubborn refusal to be manipulated by a system that sells you sugar-coated starch and calls it a convenience.